Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney, and today we have a Winnie the Pooh Hunny, which is a bingo game video for you. Now, I'm redoing this intro. I'm actually at the tail end of this game. But I wanted to redo the intro because originally it was going to be 2 weeks. Then I pushed it off for a third week. And yeah, I just have not been reading the books very fast. And so I decided to push this off yet again. So when I'm talking about any of the timelines in this video, just completely ignore that. Because I had originally planned just the first 2 weeks of the month, and then it just kept getting pushed back more and more. So any timeline words from me, just completely ignore that and know that I ended up just doing this for basically the whole month. When I'm redoing this intro right now, it is the last week in August, and I have 2.5 books left that I need to read for the bingo game. And so yeah, just kind of ignore any of the timelines. I ended up doing this for the whole month, but I'm not gonna edit myself out because originally my plans were quite different. So just keep that in mind as you're watching, and let's go ahead and get into it. It is time for another round of Winnie the Pooh Hunny, which is a bingo game where we're trying to get a honey, because of course we're Winnie the Pooh themed here. And yeah, it is time. It's been a while since I've done this. It is August 1st when I'm getting this started, and I came off such a great reading month in July. I really don't know what I want to read. Like, I got a great stack of books over there on my August TBR, and I don't know what I want to go with. So I thought I needed another video anyway, and this will kind of help me. Now, most of this is geared toward my TBR, but there are a couple of squares that I'll have to go outside my TBR if I get a digital or an audiobook. I don't have any on my current TBR. There's a hubby picks any book, so he could be nice and pick from my TBR, or he could pick any book from my room or that he just wants. There's also a hubby picks directly from my TBR, so that one would be nice. There's also Instagram, TikTok, BookTuber, TBR, things like that, which can mess around with it. So yeah, this is the board. It is completely clear right now because this is a new round. I actually made a new little board too. I need to get it laminated because I want to stop using the tape and just use a wet erase marker, but I keep forgetting to pick more up at the store and I don't have any currently, so that will come later. But for now, I want to play and I need help choosing my TBR, so that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm really hoping I get books from my TBR, but if I don't, that's okay as well. So we're just gonna do this. We have all the letters and their numbers along here. So let's do this one. Let's see here. So I see a 2, and it's okay. So it's N2 and number 2. So let's see what that one is. Okay, so there's N2, and of course it's hubby picks any book. So I am going to text him and see what he wants to pick. And we'll go from there. So I'll be right back. All right, so I am back. My husband finally got back to me. I had a little snack break, picked out my books for September, and then he finally got back to me just as I was like, well, now what am I gonna do? And he chose, so we were at the store the other day and I was looking at books, and he saw this book and he was like, what's that one about? And I was like, I've seen it around, but I don't know. And so I read the back and I was like, yeah, it sounds okay, but you know, I'd rather get other books. And so I was looking, and got a couple others, and then he was like, you should get that one. And so I was like, okay, I'll get that one. And so when I had him just call me when he had a moment, and he's like, the one I picked out at the store the other day. So that is Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. And it does have like sprayed edges, which I don't really care either way. It says, "Who do you trust?" So the back says 12 magical blessings, 12 days at sea, one chance to stop a killer and save the world. For 1,000 years, Concordia has maintained peace between its provinces. To mark this incredible feat, the Emperor's ship embarks upon a 12-day voyage to the sacred goddess's mountain. Aboard are the 12 heirs of the provinces of Concordia, each graced with a unique and secret magical ability known as a blessing. All except one, Ganymede's Piscero? Class clown, slacker, and all-around disappointment. When a beloved heir is murdered, everyone is a suspect. Stuck at sea and surrounded by powerful people without a blessing to protect him, Ganymede's odds of survival are slim. But as the bodies pile higher, Ganymedes must become the hero he was not born to be. Can he unmask the killer and their secret blessing before this bloody crusade reaches the shores of Concordia? Or will the Empire as he knows it fall? So, yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting. It's not that I don't think I'll enjoy it. It just wasn't like, oh yeah, I really want to read that, you know? But I do love anything sea related, and so it wasn't on my TBR, but it is a new purchase. So that's a plus. I'll be able to read it right away. And it does sound, like I said, it does sound like something I'll enjoy. I just don't know that I'll fully love it. Um, so that's going to be my first book of this game and of this month. So that's what I'm going to be working on tonight. I have a few more videos I need to work on. I'm also going to be editing this weekend, editing the videos. I like to film like my videos in batches, and then just get them all set up to go out the rest of the month. And so I probably won't edit anything tonight, so I'll start this tonight, and then this weekend I'll continue it. So I probably won't fully dive into this game until Monday, but this will be my first book to work on this weekend. So I'll be back when I have my thoughts on this one. All right, so it is the morning of Wednesday, the 6th of August, and I have not finished this. I am about a third of the way through right now. I am enjoying this, and I'm gonna finish it, but it's just been crazy. So, my plan is I'm reading a couple other books along with this. I'm trying to read 50 pages of Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas a day. And so, that takes a little chunk of time. And then I'm reading Nosferatu by Joe Hill, like 20 to 30 pages at night at bedtime, because I'm supposed to read that one entirely in the PM hours for Adventures in Aldea. And then yesterday, my husband actually got into an accident. So I ended up having to go to the bigger city. He commutes it's about 45 to 50 minutes away. And luckily it was in town. He was going like 20 miles an hour, but we have a little Toyota Prius that he drives because it gets good gas mileage, and it just wrecked that. So everybody was fine, but it wrecked the car. So I had to go down so I could take him to the rental car play. Anyway, it was a whole thing. But yesterday, The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk came out by Carissa Broadbent, which I love. Carissa Broadbent. I've read all but one other book other than the new one that I'm planning on reading this month anyway, and I definitely wanted that, so I'd already had it ready. And why I ordered that one, I ordered Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. And my husband and I are going to read this together. We did start it last night. So my point is I'm reading 3 other books in addition to this one. I did all my video and such over the weekend. Monday I did chores, so I didn't get as much reading in. And then yesterday I ended up having to go to the bigger city. So my point is I'm not making fast progress on this, but today I'm just over life right now. So today I plan to just do nothing but reading. and I'm determined to finish this. So I wanted to go ahead and pick my next book, just because I want to just, tuck in. So I wanted to go ahead and have my next book lined up. I also did want to mention I participate in Kim from Expedition Through Pages, her TBR Trail of the Quest game. I'm on Team Azrae, which is headed by Kim and her mom, and then Team Centaurs is headed by Amy at A-Star Reads and her mom. And it's a lot of fun, but we always have an activity each month, and this one there's like a left-handed day, and so this month our activity, we got to choose between that or making a dessert based on a book, and we all chose to draw left-handed, and we needed to draw a book cover, and I thought this one was perfect because it's mostly letters, and so I chose this one. So this is my rendition of this, and I actually think for being left-handed it didn't turn out too bad. Obviously my scale is way off, and I kind of like go down here, which I do that anyway, but actually I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. I'm really happy with that. So that was a fun little activity. I did that when I got home. My husband had to wait for the tow company. He was able to limp his car to work, so we weren't able to get the rental car until like 5:30. And so after I took him there, he had to go back to the office because there was a big wreck on the interstate. And so the tow company wasn't able to get there when they originally were planning on it, which was about 4 o'clock. So he had to go back and wait after he picked up the rental car for the tow company. And so I came home and I worked on this, it was actually a lot of fun. And honestly, I think it would have been a similar result even if I had done it in my dominant hand. The biggest thing doing it left-handed was I don't have great control. So like I would be like coloring and my hand would just slip, or I'd be writing the letters and my hand would slip, which you can see like on this end here, there's like a little line and such. So just little things like that, I had less control. But I actually use my left hand for quite a few things. I remember my sister and brother-in-law had come for Thanksgiving one year, and we were playing cards, and I was dealing with my left hand, and he's like, I thought you were right-handed. I'm like, I am. Like, I don't know. Like, I just do some things with my left hand. And working in the vet clinic, my left hand was always stronger, so like I would hold and such with my left hand. So I don't know if that played a part into it. I'm not ambidextrous, but I do, like, I guess I'm semi, because I do use my left hand quite a bit. Anyway, I'm getting long-winded. Like, yesterday was rough. But let's go ahead and pick the next letter. And just a reminder, this is where we're at. So we have the free space and then N2, the one just directly. So we are starting a line for that diagonal, which would be good. But anyway, let's see what letter and number we get next. Let's do this one. Okay, I see a 5, I think. So we have Y5, which is, okay, so Y5 is all the way down here. There's the Y column and number 5. So it's least read genres. So yeah, let me go look and see what I have for that. I don't read a lot of sci-fi. My most read genres are like romance and fantasy. But I do read a little bit of historical. I enjoy historical. I don't read it as often as other genres, though. I don't read a whole lot of sci-fi. But yeah, let me just go see what I have over there, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I looked over there. I do have a couple historical. Like I said, I don't read it as much as other genres, but I say I read it like that's kind of a middle of the road genre for me. And I did have some other ones that worked better for this prompt, so I didn't touch the historicals. The first one I picked that I'm considering is No Time Like the Future by Michael J. Fox. This is a memoir, and I enjoy memoirs, but I don't read a whole lot. I have a pile of them, But again, this is kind of middle of the road, so maybe not this one. I was just thinking I don't read a lot of them, but I do enjoy them, and I read them regularly enough where it's not doesn't fit as well as the other two. So I think that I'm gonna knock this one right off the bat. I just thought, oh, I don't read a lot of those, but really these other two fit the bill better. So, next I picked up Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. This is a priority read for me. It's been rolling over. It is for Adventures in Aldea. I need to read a dystopian, and I've just been rolling over because I haven't gotten to it. And again, I enjoy dystopians, but I don't read a whole lot of them, so that's an option. And then the other one is for my genre-a-thon, actually, which is all about getting outside my comfort zone and trying different things that I don't read a whole lot of. And for that, it was to read it's back to school, so either read a dark academia book or a book that teaches you something. So I went the teaching you something route. And I picked Women in Science 50 Fearless Pioneers Who Changed the World, written and illustrated by Rachel Ignotofsky. And this is such a cool, I found this at a thrift store, and it's got really cool illustrations, and it's just teaching you about different women in STEM throughout history. I think this was published in 2016. And so, it gives you like stats and such from that time. And yeah, this is definitely not something like informative books that kind of teaches you something I don't really read a whole lot of at all. And so, yeah, these are kind of the two choices I'm left with. But honestly, this one fits the prompt better, and it's going to be a whole lot easier because it's a lot of pictures and just little snippets of women, and it's really short. So I'm actually going to go with this one because, like I said, it just fits better overall. And it's going to be easier. So I'm really excited about this one. It says, it's a scientific fact, women rock. A charmingly illustrated and educational book, Women in Science, highlights the contributions of 50 notable women to the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM. From the ancient to the modern world. Full of striking singular art, this fascinating collection also contains infographics about relevant topics such as lab equipment, rates of women currently working in STEM fields, and an illustrated scientific glossary. The trailblazing women profiled include well-known figures like primatologist Jane Goodall, as well as lesser-known pioneers such as Katherine Johnson, the African-American physicist and mathematician who calculated the trajectory of the 1969 Apollo 11 mission to the moon. Women in Science celebrates the achievement of the intrepid women who have paved the way for the next generation of female engineers, biologists, mathematicians, doctors, astronauts, physicists, and more. So I'm excited. Like I said, I found this at a thrift store, and it was just so interesting. And it worked perfect for a genre-thon, and now it works perfect for this prompt. So that's what I'm going to be working on today. I'm hoping I can knock these out and then do another pull this evening and see what my next book is today. So start making some progress. I'm not going to worry about the 50 pages for Kingdom of Ash today, not until I get this done. So I might skip that altogether, but if I make good time reading this today, then I'll worry about that. Otherwise, this is my priority because I want to make progress so I can try to get a honey. So, but now we're starting another line on the other diagonal. And so I'm gonna hopefully be going for diagonals, but we'll just have to kind of see how it goes. But yeah, I'm excited to go tuck in and just have a chill day of reading. I will be back once I have my thoughts on both of these. I will jump back on and we'll pick my next book, so I'll be right back for you guys. So it is about 6:30 the evening of Friday the 8th, and I finally finished the first two books. Voyage of the Damned, I was trying to finish last night, but I just got super sleepy and had like 20 pages left to go. So I finished this up this morning. I enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. Um, it's definitely like a closed circle murder mystery, which aren't my favorite types of books to read. That's not my favorite genre. I did enjoy this one. I thought the author did a good job of creating suspicion around like all the characters, so you really didn't, or at least I didn't, figure out who it was. Um, and so I thought she did that really well. There was kind of this twist that I found interesting. The thing with this one, it's not my favorite genre. Um, and I knew there was like a murder mystery element, but I didn't realize like that was going to be like the main focus, I guess. I thought it was going to be more fantastical. And the fantasy's definitely there as far as like all the different heirs have this blessing, and the 12 different heirs have this blessing, you know, the building of the world and such. It definitely has a fantastical element, but it's really not at the forefront. It's definitely more of a closed circle murder mystery, which is that takes place in this fantasy world and has a little bit of magic. Um, it is written like young as far as like the simplicity of things, and you have a variety of age ranges, from characters like in their 20s to the youngest character is 6. Um, so you have a variety of those age ranges, but in the simplicity, like, you know, the different provinces all have an animal and like their names kind of go along with that, and just the simplicity of the writing felt very young. But then you have like spicy innuendos, and there's not like full on spice, like there's one, like maybe 2 scenes of like kissing, um and such, but there's a lot of spicy innuendos, there's a lot of curse words, and there are darker themes. Definitely trigger warnings for taking your own life and such like that, and those thoughts. And then obviously there's murder because it's a murder mystery. But yeah, it like felt young, but then you had those components that made it feel older, as well. That I wouldn't necessarily have a young person read this, so it was kind of in that weird area there. I did really like our main character Ganymedes. I liked that he was kind of flawed. He's definitely plus size rep, so you have that, and he's, you know, not confident at all. Like, and the whole reason like he's trying to figure out what's going on is to save the people he loves. I love the character of Grasshopper. She's the youngest heir, and she's only 6. And I liked how she kind of made her like the savage, but at the same time, she's still a 6-year-old child, so you still have that innocence and that naivety and such. I really like Grasshopper as a character. I like the romance in there. There's definitely a little romance in there. And I did like that. I did like that it was taking place on a ship. That was fun. And overall, I had a good time. I obviously didn't fly through it, like it wasn't like just pull me in an amazing story, but I had a good time throughout it. And so yeah, you just have the 12 heirs from this kingdom, and then you also have the crabs who, when the kingdom was formed, the goddess gave like different, she split her magic and her blessings through the different creatures. Uh like, so 13, her magic split 13 ways because the dragon couldn't hold it all. I don't remember why they needed to take her magic, but anyway, the dragon couldn't hold it all, and so they split it 13 ways. The crabs didn't want to be kind of part of the whole, they kind of want to make their own rules. And one of the rules was you couldn't have like bastards. You could only have like within your family. And so no sleeping around or anything like that. Well, the crabs didn't respect that, and so there's a bandage that separates the crabs from the rest of the kingdom. And like there's all kind of monsters. There's a lot of poverty in the crab area. And then the other kingdom, you know, each has an heir with a different blessing. And then they go on this pilgrimage on the ship for 12 days to this mountain where they receive their blessings initially. And so that's the whole premise, and they're on this pilgrimage and somebody's killing off them all. So I did have fun with it. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars. Then we have Women in Science, 50 Fearless Pioneers Who Changed the World. And this one was a lot of fun. I love the illustrations. I thought the illustrations were so cool. The color schemes were really cool. Like, you have such vibrant colors and such. So I really love that. A lot of the women in here are kind of in the same fields, but there was two that stood out, so I just want to mention them. And it's just talking about women in STEM from like ones that were born mid 1800s into when this book was published, which I think I said 2016, but it does mention one of the women who died in 2017. But it says 2016 back here, so I'm not sure. But the first woman that I never heard of or anything like that was Lillian Gilbreth, and she was born in 1878 into a big family of 9 children. And what I found interesting about her, she was a psychologist and an industrial engineer, and I love the pink with her. And what I found interesting about her was she reinvented the modern kitchen spaces right there. And so, yeah, she kind of turned, like, she worked with her husband as far as like making like workplaces and such more efficient and less exhausting. But when her husband died, none of the men wanted to really work with her or, take direction from her. So she kind of turned it towards like women and making, the kitchen space more efficient and such. So instead of, excuse boo boo, instead of like cooking all day, you cooked, within a couple hours and such. So I found that really interesting. And then there was also, let me find her. Um, Katia Kraft, and she was a geologist and volcanologist, which that was just different and kind of sad. Her and her husband did end up dying while looking at volcanoes. So that was kind of sad. But yeah, I just found her interesting because it was a different field. Like, she was the only one in the book that studied volcanoes, and I thought that was really, really cool. So I'm going to give this 5 stars. I think, like, it's just short snapshots of information, but it's a good starting point to introduce you to these women. And that way you can, do further research if you're interested in them. And I love the art. It has like little facts, and then it just has a 1-page little summary of their life and their contributions to STEM. In the beginning, it's very much white forward, even though it has different countries and such. It's very much white forward, but you gotta think it was hard enough for a woman back in that time period to do any of these things, let alone a minority. And so towards the end, you're getting more of a spectrum, which I really liked, and it made sense why, yeah, in the beginning you're not seeing a lot of women of color. Yeah, you're getting different like countries, but you're not seeing a lot of women of color because like I said, it was already hard enough for just a white woman in general. So I really love this. Like I said, I think this is great for kids who are interested in the STEM field. And I thought it was a great book as an adult to read it as well. So I really like that a lot. So that's going to get 5 stars from me, but we need to pull our next spot here. So this is where we're sitting right now. So the 2 diagonals we have in line for. So let's go ahead and see what our next spot is going to be. I kind of want to just sit and read Kingdom of Ash this weekend, so I'm kind of hoping for the longest book on my TBR, but we'll just have to see. So let's go ahead and go with this one. Let's see here. It's a 1, but 1 what? So we got another N2 in the first spot. So let's go ahead and see. You all, like, you can't make this stuff up. I manifested that. So we have the second N here, and the first spot is longest book on TBR. So it is out in the living room because I've been reading it slowly. So yeah, I'm gonna work on that. It's 980 pages, definitely the longest book. I've read 300 pages of it. which puts it, what, about 680, which I still think it kind of ties with Nosferatu, which I'm also reading right now. So, but even so, it's longer as far as page count, just, and I've already read down Nosferatu too. So, so yeah, I'm gonna tuck into that this weekend, so I probably won't update you again until next week. And then next week, I'm hoping I can hustle and see, what I can do, as far as getting, a bingo, because this video is going to come out the following week. So next week will be the last chance I have to work at it. And so yeah, now we have N2 um, in the line to hopefully work on a bingo there. So if you're not familiar, Kingdom of Ash is the final book in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. And it's been a journey, let me tell you what. So at the start, we're following Selena. And I started with the little prequel novellas, which I'm happy I read it that way, even though some people read the prequel novellas like as book 3. I'm glad I read it first. I didn't think it affected the impact of the story at all. Like, I was still upset during certain parts. So, but anyway, basically we're following Selena and she ends up in this prison. She gets pulled out by the prince, and she's his champion to become the king's assassin, which is his father, of course. And you have Kale, who's the king's guard, like the captain of the king's guard and such. And so we're following her, and things have definitely, from where we started to where they are now, have you gone on a journey for sure. It does deal with like kingdom politics and such, and there's like this dark evil that they're kind of battling and whatnot. So it's been a journey, and where I left it last night, I was only going to read 50 pages last night and ended up reading 100, and where I was at, like, oh my goodness. Like, so intense. So, and all I have to say is I love Fenris. Like, oh my goodness, I love Fenris. And it's funny because Selena's never been somebody I really like as a character, but just the writing and how vulnerable Sarah J. Maas makes her characters. Like, even though I don't like Selena, I love the story. And what she's gone through and such throughout the series is just crazy. And so yeah, I'm excited that I can just tuck in, because like yesterday I was just eating it up. So that's what I'm going to do. Like I said, I have probably around 680 pages to go, so I'm just going to work on that this weekend, and I'll be back with you when I have finished it so we can do my next poll. So it is the evening of Tuesday, August 12th. I did not finish Kingdom of Ash over the weekend. I still actually have 100 pages left to go. This is definitely a 5-star. We're kind of in the thick of it right now. And I don't see anything changing that rating for me. I'm really pleased with how the series is wrapping up so far. And I just am getting ready to go cook dinner. And I'll probably finish this, within the hour after cooking dinner. An hour or two, and so I just wanted to have my next book picked out. But yeah, I love how this is wrapping up. I love how all the characters are coming together. It's definitely been heartbreaking and giving me a lot of anxiety for these characters and such. Like, I just love this series so much. So 5 stars on that, even though I'm not quite finished, but I mean, 880 pages in, like, I know my rating. So this is where our little bingo board is sitting. So we got N2, and then this diagonal here, and then the other diagonal as well. All those have 2 spots filled, and so I'm hoping something fits in one of those slots. I'm not going to do this past this week. This video is coming out on the 18th, so I'm just going to finish out this week and see what we can do. So let's go ahead and pull our next number here, or letter and number here. Let's see. Oh, that one's jumping out. We'll go with, there's multiple here. Let me separate them and redo that. I saw the number, so I don't want to choose those, especially because they were stuck together. Let's do this one. Okay. So the number is 2, and we have a Y and then number 2 on the back. Ooh, okay, I like this one. So we have Y here, and then number 2 is mood read. It doesn't really help me on the lines, but it starts another line, so that's gonna be good. I know exactly what I'm gonna pick for this, and so I will be right back. Okay, so I had 2 options sitting over there. The first one is Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent. Other than the new one that just released on August 5th, this is the only backlist book that I have not read by this author. And I want to read it before I get to the new one, which I'm planning on reading in September. And so that's a fantastic option. But I'm honestly leaning towards this next one, but this is not the smart choice. So we have This Dark Descent by Kalyn Josephson. This was actually a gift from Mariana. Again, thank you to them for sending this to me. I have read this. This has been like a year and a half, 2 years ago that I got this. I have read it. However, I have not read the second one, Our Deadly Designs. And so I want to reread this one and then jump into this one. So this would be a 2-book commitment if I chose this for this spot. But I want to read them back to back. Like, that's just what I want to do. But as far as what I'm in the mood for, I mean, I'm in the mood for both of these, honestly. This would be the smart choice, but this is honestly what I'm feeling like. Like, I really, really want to get to these. So it's not the smartest choice because there'll be 2 books, and I think the second one's over 400 pages if I remember right. Yeah, just over 400. And I think this one's just under 400. So not the smartest choice for this, especially since the week's running out. But this is what I'm in the mood for. So I'm going to read these and finish this and then jump into these 2. And hopefully I can fly through these pretty fast. And hope I can get one of, like, a good chunk started tonight, finished up tomorrow, and start the other one tomorrow, and then be finished by Thursday to pull another book. And so I'll just read the synopsis for this first one. It says, 100 riders, 4 races, 1 winner. The Russell family is famous throughout Enderlane as breeders of enchanted horses, but their prestige is no match for their rising debts. To save her family's ranch, Makira Russell is left with only one option: enter the Illinaire, a treacherous cross-country horse race known as much for its high body count as its enticing prize money. To have any chance of success, Makira will have to recruit Ariel Kadar, a talented but unlicensed enchanter who creates golems in place of enchanted animals, and Damien Adair, a dashing young lord in the midst of a fierce succession battle. Both have mysterious reasons of their own to help Makira, as well as their own blood feuds to avenge. Steeped in Jewish folklore, This Dark Descent is a spellbinding new fantasy full of intrigue, romance, and pulse-pounding action. In a world as dangerous as this, will hidden agendas and conflicting desires butcher Makira, Ari, and Damien's chances of winning the Illinaire, or will another rider's dagger? So I love this. I remember it leaving me kind of in an anxiety-filled space, but I absolutely love this, and I cannot wait to read the second one. So that's going to be my choice, even though it's not necessarily the smartest. Now, it will help me because for Kim from Expedition Through Pages, the TBR Trail the Quest game, we actually got a prompt to read an entire series, and duologies do count for that, so that will fulfill that. So I will be able to at least mark that off and get those points for my team. So yeah, this is my plans for the rest of tonight and over the next couple days, and then we'll just have to see where we go from here. I don't think we're gonna get a bingo or a honey in this round, but that's okay. Like, I've been really trying to take a step back as far as my reading and not push myself so hard. And especially with September coming up, I have a lot of books I want to read for my birthday month. And so with that coming up, I kind of want to just kind of go with the flow during August. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to be reading, and we'll just see when I wrap those up. and what my next pick will be. But I seriously doubt we're gonna get a bingo, but we'll see. I have some short ones over there, so there's still a chance, but I'm not thinking it will happen. Anyway, I will be back in just a moment for you guys to talk about these two books. I'm not gonna worry about talking about Kingdom of Ash anymore. I'm just gonna finish it up and call it good, because like I said, it's last in the series. There's not a lot to say, but just know that I do love it. So I'll be right back. Okay, so it is Friday, what, the 15th, I want to say, is the date today. I have finished this Dark Descent. I finished this last night, at bedtime. So I have finished this. This was a reread for me. And I still loved it just as much. I had a little bit of a harder time getting into it. I think just because I kind of knew the twist, and like my brain was like trying to remember things, and I don't have a greatest memory. I pretty much remembered most of this except like the little connections. And the last chapter, there's a reveal that I did not remember at all. Like I had no memory of that. I did start Our Deadly Designs. This is just the dust jacket. I read only 20 pages of this last night though. But this video comes out Monday. I'm going to keep reading this, but I wanted to go ahead and choose a few more books. So like I said, this one's 5 stars, and we'll see what this one is. So I wanted to go ahead and choose. I need 3. I have, let's see here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines where I could potentially get a bingo, but they all need 3 books. So I have this diagonal, this line, and then the Y line. But all of them need 3 books. So I'm going to pull 3 books, and I'm going to wrap up this video. I might do like a final update depending on what I get read over the weekend. I might do like a final update. But I want to go ahead and pull 3 more just to see if I can get a bingo and just have those lined up for the weekend. It is supposed to be kind of rainy, like we have good chance, not a good chance, but 25% chance of rain each day over the weekend. It's nice and cloudy today. It's not breaking 90, which is a big relief because we've obviously been having 100-degree weather. And so it's going to be low 90s, high 80s over the weekend, chance of rain, which normally if we have like a 25% chance of rain, like we've been getting rain, which is so nice living in the desert. Especially last year we didn't get any rain at all. But today's nice and cloudy. We got a little bit of a rain this morning. Nothing much, like the ground's not even still wet. But yeah, so I just kind of want to choose 3 books, see if we can get a bingo. And if not, that's okay. I'm just such a completionist. Now I could swap videos because I have my TBR videos that's coming out the next week. So I could just move that up and then do this for another week, because I want to complete it. Like that's where my brain is, but at the same time, like I don't like changing up my plans either. So I don't know. We're gonna just see how this weekend goes, and I will go from there. But let's go ahead and pull 3 prompts. I'm gonna pull them all right now, and then we'll kind of see what we got here. So we'll do this one first. That's number 1. We'll do this one second. And now we need 1 more, and I'm hoping like these are the lucky pulls, and we'll get a bingo. We'll do that one next. So let's see what we got. So this first one is a 2. So we have H2, which is, oh, I forgot another. We have another line. So this one is a book for something you are participating in, which works great because I do participate in Kim from Expedition Through Pages, TBR 12, the quest game, which is competitive. Kim and her mom one team, which is my team, Azrae, and then we have the Centaurs, which is led by Amia Asa Reeds and her mom. So much fun. I could actually just put the second book because, like I said, this one we had to read an entire series, duologies included. They count, and this was a duology, so I could just make it easier on myself, but we'll see. Then we have H again, 4. So this does not help us out at all. But so we got H, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So booktuber TBR. I'll have to see what I can do there. And then lastly, we have another 4, but this is U4. And does that help me out at all? It does. Okay, so U4 is on a diagonal. So we got U, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's Goodreads or Storygraph. I don't know that helps me out so much. So let me go see what I got, and I will be right back. All right, so I am back, and I got my choices. I decided to be kind to myself, and I am going to put Our Deadly Designs by Kalyn Josephson for my pick for something I'm participating in. I said only 20 pages in, and I did want to read them back to back, and so I'm just going to be nice to myself and do that. Like I've already talked about it. You already know what that series is about. For Booktuber TBR, kind of went back and looked, and I found Reads and Threads, and they play a game called Reach the Castle, and on their TBR they have the first book in the series, and for my purposes that works. Like for my game rules, everything, that works. If it's part of a series and that fits the prompt, like another book in the series fits the prompt, I count it. So they're going to be reading Six of Crows, but on my TBR I have Crooked Kingdom. This is by Leigh Bardugo. And so this is what I chose for that. Since I'll be reading Six of Crows, I'm going to pick up Crooked Kingdom because I already read Six of Crows. For Goodreads and Storygraph, I started with Storygraph just because I prefer it in general, but I wasn't finding anything. Like I had some that are on like my shelves, but nothing that was on my actual TBR. And so I went over to Goodreads, and I don't really have like friends or anything on Goodreads. Like I have a few, but so I just went to recommendations and hit the first list, which was like the best books to read. And I scrolled down, and on there was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And so this wasn't originally part of my TBR, but it is also for Kim's game. And so I'm going to be reading this for that prompt. So let's backtrack a little bit. Crooked Kingdom, the first book, it's a heist novel, and it does take place in the Grishaverse. So this is the second book in the duology, but the fifth book in the Grishaverse itself. And so in the first book, you have a group of 6, and they go on this heist job. And then we're following the aftermath of that in this one. And then for The Alchemist, for Kim's game, we got in a prompt that needed to have like potions or alchemy or something of the like, either in the title or in the book. And so for this one, it says, Paulo Coelho's enchanting novel has inspired a devoted following around the world. This story, dazzling in its powerful simplicity and soul-stirring wisdom, is about an Andalusian shepherd boy named Santiago who travels from his homeland in Spain to the Egyptian desert in search of a treasure buried near the pyramids. Along the way, he meets a gypsy woman, a man who calls himself king, an alchemist, all of who point Santiago in the direction of his quest. No one knows what the treasure is, or if Santiago will be able to surmount the obstacles in his path. But what starts out as a journey to find worldly goods turns into a discovery of the treasure found within. Lush, evocative, and deeply humane, the story of Santiago is an eternal testament to the transforming power of our dreams and the importance of listening to our hearts. So I've been wanting to read this for a while. I had it on a previous TBR, never got to it. So this will be a good one to have. So this is the lineup, and I'm going to read them in the order I pulled them. So we'll be reading our Deadly Designs today, and then we'll move on to Crooked Kingdom, and lastly we'll read The Alchemist. I will be back on Sunday to either wrap up this video as much as I can, or be back to tell you that I decided to extend it a week and pull some more prompts, because we do have so now our H column, we're 3 away from a honey here. We're 3 away on the 4th row, 3 away on the Y column, 3 away on the 2nd end column, only 2 away on that diagonal, and then 3 away on the other diagonal. And you know, like I said, I don't like leaving things unfinished. It bugs me. So I'm leaning towards I might swap out and do this another week, but we'll see how I feel at the end of the weekend, what I get accomplished and everything like that. But for you guys, I will be back in just a second to let you know what I decided. Okay, so it is now Thursday, August 21st. Obviously, I did not get this video out on Monday. I ended up playing World of Warcraft with my husband over the weekend. And then I've been doing, like, working on chores and such. So my reading has been pretty slow. I did finish our Deadly Designs by Kalyn Josephson. This one ended up being a 3-star. It was kind of a disappointment. I love the first book so much. That was 5 stars. And this one, you don't have that horse race aspect, which makes sense for where the story went. Like, you don't have that aspect, which is one of the things I really loved about the first book. But I was thinking I still really like the characters. Our main character group is so fractured in this one. They're keeping secrets, like they're all doing their different things, that it just really slowed the plot down. Like, there's the main plot of the story, which has to do with like political stuff and whatnot in this kingdom. And so there's, and this, like, and it ties it back into this big event that happened like 100 years ago or so. And so that's the main plot of the story, but all that fractionness of the group, that just got, the plot got so bogged down by all of that stuff. And I really wish the author hadn't done that. And also because of that, and they're all doing their different things, she added in the POV of Damien. And so while, yeah, I liked another POV, again, it just slowed it down. And if she had kept the group together, in the first book, it was just Ariel and Mira, or Makira. I'm kind of blending both. She shortens it to Kira. So Makira. It's just Ariel and Makira in the first book, and going back and forth. In this one, she added in Damien. And at the same time, you also have Reed. And I'm like, if you're going to add in Damien, I think she should have added in Reed too. But either way, like, it just slowed it down. And I'm still reading Crooked Kingdom. And there's, you know, like 6 viewpoints in this one. And so, like, multiple number of viewpoints is fine if it's progressing the plot, you know, and it makes sense. And so, yeah, this just kind of got bogged down, and I just didn't love it like I loved the first one. So I did finish that one. I only have a little under 200 pages. There's also, like, a preview for King of Scars and, like, a discussion guide back there. But I just have a little under 200 pages left to go in Crooked Kingdom. Today I'm not doing any chores or anything. Like, I'm literally just reading, and I'm confident I'll be able to finish this by early afternoon. Love this. This is definitely 5 stars. This is, you know, the sequel to 6 of Crows. There's still that heist aspect in here, just like on smaller scales. I love the group in here. And yeah, I'm just loving this. So unless something crazy happens, excuse me, in these last 200 pages, I have no doubt this is going to stay at 5 stars. And so, of course, I haven't even started The Alchemist, but this is so short. I'm pretty confident I can finish these both up today. And I wanted to kind of pick my reads. I'm going to keep reading through the weekend for my honey game. And so I think I'm going to pick another 3 and still try to get a honey, because this one needs 2, the one I'm looking at. This diagonal needs 2 to get a honey. This across right here, the second row, needs 2 to get a honey. Let's see here. N2 needs 3. And the fourth row also needs 3. So I'm going to pick out 3 more numbers and see if I can't get my honey and just choose my reads for the weekend. This will be the last of it, and I will just update you guys on Sunday to let you know my thoughts on the ones that I ended up finishing. But let's go ahead and pick out 3 more books, and that way I know what I'm reading this weekend, which will be nice. So let's do this one. Oh, there's 2, so we'll do both of those. And then we'll do this one as well. Okay, so let's start with one of the other 2. So we'll start here. This is H1. Okay, which sort of helps me because I need 3 on the H column. And it's most anticipated of the month. I know exactly what I'm going to choose for that one. So that's great. Then we have, I see a 5. Ooh, nice. So we got another H5, and that's most read genres. So we only need 1 more in the H column. So let's see what this one is. Nope. This is a U2, which is, hubby picks from TBR. So that means he has to pick from my TBR list. He can choose any book, which he did choose a book that wasn't on my TBR list. But yeah, let me go ahead and get these books figured out. And we'll kind of go for there. I'm kind of sad I only need 1 more H. Maybe I'll pull 1 more book. Let's see if we can get that other H. Because I'm like, we only need 1 more on that column. Let's do this one. Let's see. Yes, I got it. So H3, which is the last one. And this is an audio or digital book. And I have the perfect one. It's super short. I've been saving it. I wanted to listen to it or read it on digital, but I've been saving it in case this one came up. So, all right. So we got our H bingo, as long as I read all the books, which I for sure will. Probably won't be by Monday, but it could be, just depending on how fast I go. And so, yeah, let me get the books and I will be right back with you guys. All right, so I am back and I'm so happy I pulled that 4th one. I swear sometimes I manifest stuff, because the one time, I wanted the longest book and I manifested that. And then I just wanted that last H, so I had my honey and I managed that. So we now have a honey in the H column, which makes me so happy. And we're going to call it there, even though we could try for 2 more because we only need 1 more on the diagonal and 1 more on the second row. But this is going to be pushing it to read this weekend. And if I go a little over, I'm fine with that. So first I think we got most anticipated of the month, and I immediately thought of 2 books. One's a little bit more anticipated than the other one, but it worked for one of the other prompts. So for this one, I'm going with The Antidote by Karen Russell. This one I won in a Goodreads giveaway, and Goodreads giveaway, I sign up for them, and if I win, great. If I don't, no big deal. But one thing about the Goodreads giveaway is they're not always books I would necessarily buy myself. This one is. This one sounds so good, and I've been eyeballing it since I won it. I won it, I think, back in April or May. And I've been eyeballing it, and it just hasn't worked out to get on a TBR, except, this month. And so I'm really excited about this one. This one says it's fantastical, historical, and honestly, this could have worked for the most read genres as well, because I do read a lot of historical. But it says fantastical, historical, supernatural, and miraculously faithful to the legacy of a nation's ineradicable past. The Antidote is bookended by 2 real weather events that happened within months of each other in western Nebraska. The Black Sunday dust storm of 1935 and the flooding of the Republican River, which received 24 inches of rain within 24 hours. Within the confines of the shadowed history, we meet a prairie witch who excels in the exile of memory and who calls herself the Antidote, having discovered her bleak magic at the age of 15 when her baby was stolen from her at a home for unwed mothers. Harp Olensky, a farmer whose land remains strangely unharmed while the town around him is obliterated by dust and drought. Dale Olensky, his niece, a motherless daughter in a furious flight from her grief. Player captain of a girls' basketball team abandoned by its sponsor, intent on making it to the playoffs while facing down the storm of the century. A voluble scarecrow, and Cleo Alfrey, a New Deal photographer whose time-traveling camera threatens to reveal both the town's secrets and its fate. The Antidote is above all a reckoning with a nation's forgetting, enacting the settler amnesia and willful omissions passed down from generation to generation, and unearthing not only horrors, but shimmering possibilities. Karen Russell's imaginative reach is exuberantly unfettered, and her language soars. The Antidote is an extraordinary new novel from one of the most prodigiously gifted writers of our time. I've never read from this author, but like I said, I won this in Goodreads giveaway, and this, based on the synopsis, is definitely one I would have bought if I came across it at a store. So I'm so excited to finally get this read. I love the cover, I love the colors, and it seems like it has a lot of buzzwords for me, so I'm excited about that one. So that is the most anticipated. Most read genres. I lead a lot of fantasy romance, or romantasy, and this is the last book until the newest release, except for the newest release, which came out August 5th. And so I'm going to be reading Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent for this. I love Carissa Broadbent. Everything I've read has been 5 stars. This is the only book I have not read, minus the new release, which is the second in the, the Shadowborn duet, which is the 4th in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. So this takes place in that world, and I haven't read it yet, so I need to, and I'm very excited about this. So it says, Selena has sacrificed everything for her goddess, her soul, her freedom, her eyes. Life in service to Arakisin, a cult of the goddess of fate, has turned Selena from orphan street rat to disciplined killer, determined to overthrow Glaia's sorry, I'm having trouble this morning. Tyrannical king. When a brutal vampire conqueror Atreus arrives on their shores, Selena faces an even deadlier adversary. She's tasked with a crucial mission: infiltrate his army, earn his trust, and kill him. Yet when Selena becomes a seer, she glimpses a dark and shocking past, and a side of him that reminds her far too much of parts of herself she'd rather forget. Selena's orders are clear: the vampire cannot live. But as the blood spilled by Galea's tyrant king runs thicker, her connection with Atreus only grows stronger. A connection forbidden by her vows. A connection that could cost her everything. So I can't wait to get to this. And then next month I'm reading The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk. And I will be all caught up on Carissa's works. So that's my next choice. And then we got You. I was hoping for the H. We got You. And that was hubby picks anything from my TBR. I took these 2 off because I knew I already wanted to read them. And I sent him a picture. He actually called right at the right time. So I was like, hey, I'm sending you a picture. Choose one of these books. And he decided to choose it based off color, which is completely fine. It's like they just have to be the 6 books. That's fine. And he liked the color of the Sunbearer Trials by Aiden Thomas. This one isn't actually on my official TBR, but I added it on for Kim from Expedition Through Pages game, because we needed patina green. And so this has a lot of the different greens, and based on the phone, it looked like very close. So I'm going to be reading this. And so this one should go quickly because it is YA. And so I believe it's YA anyway. And so I'm excited to give this a try. I've had this for a little while. And I do love the cover. It's very pretty. All right. I got a lot of froggies in my throat this morning. I think I got them cleared out. So let's go ahead and get this one read. It says, as each new decade begins, the sun's power must be replenished so that Sol can keep traveling along the sky and keep the chaotic obsidian gods at bay. Sol selects 10 of the most worthy semi-dioses to compete in the Sunbearer trials. The winner carries light and life to all the temples of Reino del Sol, but the loser has the greatest honor of all. They will be sacrificed to Sol, their body melted down to refuel the sunstones, protecting the world for another 10 years. Tio, a 17-year-old jade semi-dios, and the trans son of the goddess of birds, isn't worried about the trials, at least not for himself. His best friend Naya is a gold semi-dios and a shoo-in for the trials, and while he trusts her abilities, the odds of becoming the sacrifice is 1 in 10. But then, for the first time in over a century, the impossible happens. Sol chooses not 1, but 2 jade competitors, Tio and Zio, the 13-year-old child of the god of bad luck. Now they must compete in 5 trials against gold opponents, who are more powerful and better trained. Worst of all, Tio's annoyingly handsome ex-best friend, Aurelio, is favored to win. Tio is determined to get himself and his friends through the trials unscathed for fame, glory, and their own survival. That sounds so much fun. Excuse me again, jeez. And so, yeah, that's the book he picked. And then I wanted to take a chance, and like I said, I manifested it. Sometimes I really swear I manifest things. And it's funny because, like, when we do our live show for the TBR Trail, the quest game, like, Kim sometimes will say something and then it will happen. And she's like, I think I'm a witch. And sometimes I really feel that too, because I do manifest. So anyway, we did get our final H, which was an audio or digital book. And like I said, I have a book I've been hanging on to. It is only like an hour and 16 minutes via the audio. It's a short little novella. And it's by Brynne Weaver, and it's like a little novella that goes along with the Ruinous Love trilogy, which I absolutely loved. And when I saw it, it was free. I got it through Prime, so it didn't cost me a thing, and I can listen to it via audio or read it digitally. I'll probably listen to it most likely. Like I said, an hour 16 minutes, and it's Love and Other Killers, I want to say. I'll insert a picture here. I looked it up. And basically, they're in the first book, Sloan, and I forget what his name is. Oh my goodness, I'm horrible with names. But anyway, the 2 main characters, 2 main killers, yes, they're both killers, but the 2 main characters are kind of in this competition each year where they have one target and they see who can off them. And it's always a guy that's not good. Like, they target people who are not good people. And so it's the whole family, because the whole family's full of serial killers. And it's the whole family, and they're in this competition to off this one guy. And so he says, super short. It's gonna be fun. I know I love those characters. The author's writing, like, I'm really looking forward to that. And like I said, I've been saving it in case this prompt had come up, because otherwise I probably would have already listened to it, if I'm being honest, while I was doing chores or something. And so yeah, that's what I'm going to be listening to, so it's going to be super easy. So I got quite the weekend ahead of me, and so we got these 5 books. And then also the Love and Other Killers, or whatever it's called. And so like I said, I think it'll go fine. I'm pretty confident I can finish these up today. And then these ones I'll do in the order. So I'll read this one first, then Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, and then the Sunbearer Trials. Now the little novella, I'm will slot in wherever. I'm not going to necessarily read that one in order, just wherever it works, I will do that. So I will be back. I'm just planning on reading. I'm not planning on doing any updates until Sunday. And on Sunday, I will be back with my updates and my thoughts on what I get read here. But I am so happy. I did get the honey. Like I said, all I'm requiring of myself, like even if I don't finish them by Monday or Sunday, all I'm requiring of myself is that I do read the books by the end of the month, which I for sure will. So this is my lineup. I'm excited to see how much I get read this weekend. And then, like I said, if something spills over into next week, that's fine too. So anyway, I will be back on Sunday to wrap this video up. But for now, I'm going to go get my coffee, get my breakfast, and then I'm going to tuck in and just spend the day reading. Nidra got bit by an ant last night. We have fire ants around here, and those are just nasty little buggers. And there was a new colony in the dog yard. We have 2 on either side of the dog yard, which we treat regularly, but there was a new colony, and my husband, and I told him to treat it, but he didn't, and then she got bit last night. Poor thing. And it was like stuck on her, so it was just, getting her over and over. She's like freaking out. It was so sad. Anyway, my point is she's on Benadryl right now, and so I'm just gonna snuggie her and read and baby her a little bit today. So I'm gonna go do that, and I will be back in just a moment for you guys. All right, so it is now Sunday, August 31st, the morning of Sunday, August 31st. This video comes out tomorrow. I need to wrap it up. And so yeah, I did almost read all the books. Like, this month has just been really slow reading wise for me. But let's go ahead and start with the one I finished first. I didn't start it first, but I finished it first, and that was the little audiobook / ebook. I ended up not listening. I was going to listen to it. I listened to all the other ones in that series. But I decided to just read it as an ebook because I was awake one early morning and I just started it on my phone. And it was really quick, really easy. It was like 50 pages, super quick. And that was Love and Other Killers by Brynne Weaver, which goes along with the Ruinous Love trilogy. Now in this one, and it was kind of somewhere between like a novella and like a short story. Like 50 pages is not a lot. And I do wish maybe it had been a little bit longer just to get a little bit more depth to it. But basically you have all 3 couples from the other books. And in the first set of books, Sloane and Rowan have this competition where each year they go and have a competition to see who can off a bad guy first. So there's basically serial killers and such. So this is that competition, but now it's the whole family. They're all, the respective couples are all together now. And so in this one, they're going and they're meeting up, and it's kind of the girls against the boys, which was fun. And yeah, it was just, I wish, because the beginning, they're just kind of bantering and such. And I do kind of wish maybe the beginning had been spent more on giving you more background on who their target was. So we didn't get a lot of that. So I really didn't care about that. But I enjoyed, being with the characters again. I enjoyed the little references made to the different things from the other books, like, having read all 3 of the other books, like, I could really appreciate those little references. And we're following Sloane's point of view. It's just Sloane's point of view. But yeah, it was just, you didn't get a lot of depth. You didn't get a lot of information on who their target was. And then when the whole big event of actually getting their target happened, it was super fast and just kind of lackluster. So I think I gave it 3 stars, I want to say, is what I ended up giving it. Because it was still fun. It made me laugh. Like, I enjoyed the characters, being back with them. But it was just like the main, little story. Like, yeah, it was just a snapshot into this one, target. But it was just too short, and which is one of my problems with novellas in general. And in this case, she didn't need to spend a lot of time like building the characters because it goes along with the Ruinous Love trilogy, and so you need to have read the Ruinous Love trilogy, and you already have that background on the characters. So it really should have just been about their target and them getting their target. And I think if she had focused a little bit more on that instead of like the characters all being back together and catching up and bantering and drinking and such, I think I would have enjoyed it just a little bit more. It's still not novellas. Like, I think I've only ever given one novella a 5-star. They're just not really my thing. But there was that one. Then I read The Antidote by Karen Russell, and this was for most anticipated of the month. So what I had left, this one and Slaying the Vampire Conqueror were my most anticipated of what I had left. But Slaying the Vampire Conqueror worked for one of the other prompts I pulled, so I used this for most anticipated. I had won this in a Goodreads giveaway. And I've been trying to read it because that was like back in May, I want to say. And I've been trying to read it and just haven't been able to get to it. So I've been wanting to get to this because it sounded really interesting. So in this one, you have the Antidote, who is a vault, which is a type of witch. And basically, people can deposit unpleasant memories into a vault. So one of the witches. And then that burden is not on them. They don't remember it. They remember going to the witch. And if they ever want their memories back, they can go and withdraw it, kind of like a bank system. So we're following her. We're following a farmer, a Polish farmer, and his niece who lost her mother. So we're following them. And then you have a photographer who, what is it? Something, it's like the New Deal photographers. But you're following her, and she has this camera that is like a time traveling camera. So it takes pictures, but when she takes a picture, then when she develops it, it's like pictures from the past or pictures from the future. And then you also have a scarecrow point of view, and at the very end, there's this cat, and you have this cat's point of view. And I think, and it's bookend by 2 real weather events that did happen. The town is fictional, and obviously most of the characters are fictional. Some of the characters are based on real people. But these 2 weather events happened. First, the Black Sunday dust storm during the Dust Bowl, and then like a month or so later, you had 24 inches of rain in 24 hours and the river flooded. The Republican River flooded. So that's what bookends this book. And I wish we had just the Antidote's point of view, the photographer's point of view, and maybe the farmer's point of view. We did not need the niece, and her whole basketball thing just did not need it. It just did too much. You also have like this murder spree and this corrupt sheriff. That was like a main focus of the story. And again, it just didn't really work for the story. And like the niece's mother, Dell's mother, was one of the victims of this killer, even though she wasn't. And you kind of know that, like right off the bat, like it's just the corrupt sheriff. And it was just too much. We did not need the Scarecrow's point of view. I did not like how that part of the story wrapped up either. Like, I did not enjoy that. And the weird cat point of view, like, that was completely unnecessary as well. And so it was just really frustrating. And going in, I had kind of read, like, the historical note and the author's note in the back. And going in, I thought it was going to be more focused on, like, the settler amnesia of these people who came in and took the native lands, and the only time you really get that like as the focus is the farmer. He goes to retrieve his father's memories, and so you have his father's memory coming from Poland after the German occupation and such, and coming to the lands, and then realizing he's doing to the Native Americans the same thing that the Germans were doing to Poland, or the Polish people. And so that was like, that's where you got that. But past that, like, it would maybe be mentioned and such. And then the photographer too, she can go in the past and the future. And I wish it had just stuck to the past, because the future didn't really do anything for the story at all. So I really wish the photographs had stuck to the past and like the Native Americans and such, and it doesn't do that. And then you have, you know, a daughter and the basketball, like practicing basketball in the dust storm, and then trying to get to their championship game so they can be Region 7 champions and such. And it was just, it added stuff to the story that didn't need to be. And then also with the antidote, the reason like they become witches, basically they end up having this hole in them from some tragedy, and she was at a school for unwed mothers and they stole her son. And so that's kind of the whole reason why she has this hole, why she's a witch. And yeah, it just tried to do too much throughout the whole thing. There was unnecessary point of views and things, and it lacked focus. And it was more focused instead of on like the settler amnesia and the land and such. And she could have tied the murders in, like if the Native American women were being murdered, because that's a real problem. They disappear, they get murdered, and there was only one of the murdered women that was a Native woman. And so it's like if you had tied that in, that would have tied into, you know, the whole Native American and the injustices and the wrongs that were done to them. Um, and are still done to them. And so like that would have been perfect opportunity to be it. And instead she just did like a bunch of random women, and it was more focused on this corrupt sheriff. So anyway, I wasn't really enjoying it, but there was certain aspects that I found cool. Like I did like the Antidote's point of view, and like, you know, I know that school for unwed mothers was a real school. There was a real one of the Native American schools that they would still force the children and steal them from their parents to force them to go to these schools. That was in here. The unwed mother school was in here. And those were real things, like real aspects from the history. And so it was kind of sitting at a 3-star until the end. And the end, I'm just like, nothing wraps up. Like, made the whole story, all that slog, pointless because nothing wraps up. And so, yeah, I ended up giving this a 2-star. So there's that one. Then, excuse me, I did read Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent. 5 stars. I love everything Carissa Broadbent writes. Everything's been 5-star for me. This was no different. This is probably up there among my favorites though. Like, obviously the War Lost Hearts trilogy is still my favorite. But as far as character-wise, like, I really enjoyed this. And this one, you do see kind of the threads from the rest of the Nyaxia books kind of coming together in this one. Like not coming together, but you see like how it's gonna like converge together, basically. And so yeah, you just have this vampire conqueror who comes to this land, and he, you know, has very different like reasons for doing this. Like it's not just black and white, like he's coming to conquer. And then she's a member of the Erikessin, I want to say, um, who, in order to join the Erikessin, like you give your sight, and so you lose your sight, and then sometimes you have to give body parts. So she like lost a finger, and they like have these threads, and that's how they see the world, which was really interesting. And so she's tasked to kind of infiltrate the army, get close to the Conqueror, and then learn why he's doing this, like his plans and such, and then kill him, like gain his trust so she can get close enough to kill him. But of course, it's a romance, so you know, she falls in love with him, and she's also realizing like she joined the Erikessin when she was 10, which most of the time they take much younger children because they don't want those past ties to their lives, and you're supposed to just let go of your past life when you join them. Well, she still has that, and the whole like island and such is basically, or the country is run by corrupt warlords and whatnot, that treat their people horribly, like keep them under control through drugs. Um, so yeah, so she's starting to see like it's not so black and white, and maybe he's not the bad guy. And it was just really good. I love these two together. I really liked Atreus. He, you know, he's this badass vampire conqueror and kind of stoic and walled off, but he has such like a tortured and soft like little soul in him. And I just really enjoyed him. I enjoyed them together. And yeah, another 5-star. And I'm really excited to read the last book that's out, you know, the last book to date, in September. So And then lastly, we have the Sunbearer Trials, which was my husband's pick off my TBR stack. And I'm not quite finished with this. I'm halfway. I have just under 200 pages left to go, and I will finish this tonight. And I kind of already know my thoughts on it, and I did kind of skip ahead just to see if they might change, but I don't think they are. And so this one's going to be 4-star. We've had 2 trials so far. So basically in this world you have the 2 gods created 3 different like gods as well, like kind of like Zeus and then the rest of the gods or whatever. And so they created the 3 different, so you have the golds, and they were like, that didn't really work, so then they created the jades, and that didn't really work, so then they created the obsidians, and that really didn't work, and then they created the humans. So in this world, the obsidians have been locked away because they are no good. And the golds and the jades are kind of tasked with protecting the people. And the golds are like the favored ones. And every 10 years they have to do these trials because Sol, who's was the one that locked up the Obsidians. He gave his life to trap them, basically. And then now he's the sun and whatnot. And so every 10 years they have to revive, replenish the sunstones, essentially. And so they compete in these trials. 10 of the gods, Deosis or semi-Deosis, which are the demigods, basically, compete in these trials, and then the Sunbearer is the one that takes and replenishes each of the sunstones, but the loser gets sacrificed, and it's their life and their blood that helps to replenish the sunstones. So the Sunbearer sacrifices whoever loses this competition, and then they take that and they replenish the sunstones, essentially. And so you have Tio, and he is a jade. And historically, like, it's been 130 years since a jade has been chosen for the trials. It's normally always golds, and the golds have like this academy they go to, and they basically train to do these trials. Well, this year him and one of the others gets chosen that they're jades. And so you have 2 jades and 8 golds, and they've never been trained for this or anything like that, so they're like, what the heck? But they have to, like, they're god chosen, so they have to do it. And so we've had 2 trials. There's 5 total, and they take place in different of the different kingdoms. And so we've had 2 of them so far, and it's like I thought there was going to be a lot of high stakes even within the trials, and it's not. So far, the 2 trials I've read have just kind of been a little bit ridiculous, a little bit silly, not very high stakes. Not a lot of time spent on them. They're over pretty quick, and more time is being spent on the in-between. So, yeah. I was like, okay, try that again. So yeah, so not a lot of time has been spent on the trials, and I'm just like, like, I thought that was kind of going to be the main focus, and so I'm enjoying it. I really like the characters. There's a lot of great different representation. You have 2 trans characters and such, and other, representation as well within that community, and so I really like it. I like that it's the Spanish Mexican influence and such. I really enjoy that. And yeah, it's just that like I said, like, I was expecting a little bit more high stakes, and so far it's just been kind of silly as far as the trials go. He said I did flip ahead to the end, and I know like things are going to go down. I'm definitely going to be picking up the next book in the series. But yeah, I'll finish this tonight for sure. And so I just kind of wanted to wrap up this video since it's going up tomorrow and give you my thoughts. But right now this is at a 4-star, and I don't foresee that changing at all. So that is that. So I ended up reading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, those 2 I didn't read for them. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books for this. And I feel pretty good about that. So I'm so happy that we did end up getting our honey. Because that's kind of my goal with this. Like, I have a really hard time not completing the game. Like my brain just gets stuck. So I was really glad that when I pulled that last one, it gave us our H and we were able to manifest that. That was very, very nice. So that is it for this video. I'm getting ready. Like I said, I'm going to wrap that book up tonight. And then tomorrow I'm diving into my September reading plans, which I'm so excited about. So really, and then I'm also participating in Cryptic Creatures Readathon, which is put on by Carissa at Sweet Tea Reads, and co-hosted by Nala at, I don't remember again, Here There Be Stories. Here There Be Stories, that's the channel. And so I'm so excited. I got my books all lined up. I'm having you guys, my subscribers, pick for my reading order, which is fun. I'm doing like emoji pull picks, so you don't really know what book it is, but some of you probably can figure it out. And yeah, I'm beyond excited to get into September. So hopefully my reading goes better in September, since I did struggle a little bit in August. My reading was just super slow, but that's also why I didn't push myself, because I knew I had big plans for September. But I would love to know if you've read any of these books, if you're interested in reading any of these books now that I've talked about them a little bit. Maybe a book that you've read recently that you really enjoyed. But I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.